Welcome to the July Lunch and Learn at the Native American Studies Center. I'm your host, Chris Judge. Before we get started, I would like to make one announcement. Our August 23rd Lunch and Learn, or August Lunch and Learn, is our very own Dr. Evan Noe, who's in the audience. He's in the back center. He's our historian here at the Native American Studies Center. He's going to give a lunch and learn, Aggression and Suffering, Settler Violence, Native Resistance, and Coalitions in the Old South. And that's a award-winning book that he had published last year and won the Macmillan Award from University of Alabama Press. So that's August 23rd at noon. Today, I'm delighted to introduce Chief Brian Harris of the Catawba. Source of pride for me is we have had every one of the Catawba chiefs in the modern era, and that goes back to 73, do some kind of program here. And so today, we get the newest chief. He was nominated to be chief of the Catawba in 23, been chief almost a year, or right at a year now, I'm thinking. He's served passionately the Catawba community in a lot of different capacities. He's been chairman of the ISWA Housing Board, administrative officer of the Indian Health Catawba Service Unit, and a member of the Judicial Committee, Economic Development Committee as well. He's on the United Southern and Eastern Tribes, a coalition of tribes in the Eastern United States that work together on various issues of concern to all Native people. And recently was elected chairman of the Council of Chiefs. The Council of Chiefs is a group of chiefs here in South Carolina. Raise your hand if you're a chief of a South Carolina tribe. Welcome. Thank you all for being here. Chief Harris loves to have lunch with the Catawba seniors over on the reservation, and since he wasn't there today, they came here. So welcome to the seniors who are here. He strives to revitalize Catawba culture in a lot of different ways and the rich traditions of the citizens of the nation, including the artisans, the potters, and all the jewelry makers, the dancers, and the drummers, all of which have come here and presented. So without further ado, please make welcome Chief Brian Harris.
How are y'all doing today? Good late morning. We just finished our Council of Chiefs meeting, and what that is, it's a group of chiefs from all state recognized tribes, and we come together as one, and we help each other promote Indigenous affairs and Indigenous beliefs and ideas, cultural heritage throughout the state of South Carolina. And so by doing that, I'm honored to be accepted as the chairman today. I think I'm about 5 months into that, I think now, Chief Creel. Yeah, yep. And so with that being said, I've had a lot of great honors in 11 months, and I've met a lot of people, and I just want to talk to y'all a little bit today about what it means to be an Indigenous leader, especially in these days and times. And I think that a lot of people that I meet doesn't really comprehend what it means to have to navigate not only local municipalities, Lancaster County, York County, City of Rock Hill, City of Fort Mill. We also have to navigate the waters in the state, and we have to navigate the waters at the federal level. And so I have to find that equal balance to where I put Catawba in the right place at the right time, but not making this person mad or making that person mad, or lo and behold, our citizens mad. And so I think I'm navigating pretty well. And but to me, it's about 4,075 people, not one person, one place, or one thing. It's about Catawba. And so I try to absorb everything I can and promote not only our great nation, but our tribal citizens in the light that in the manner and respect that I grew up in. And so with that, I do get myself in a little bit of trouble every once in a while, and I'm human. One of my major flaws is that before I got elected, I came in leadership. I was a regional manager, regional developer for PepsiCo. I sold Pepsi basically, and it was all production, and it was all you either performed or you didn't get paid. So needless to say, I came in with that type of attitude, maybe a little bullish, a little like a bull in a china shop. And, I don't know if that was a good thing or if it's a bad thing. History will decide that. However, I would like to think those characteristics, even though that I have gradually changed and learned that everything can't be right now, today, every second, every minute. I think I'm transitioning it over into an area to where I'm more patient, and it's not ever been about our people and our employees. It was internal. I had that internal time clock, to just move, 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 move. And with government, things don't move that fast, especially when you're under federal regulations and under federal benefits, and you got, this section of the 25 CFR this, or, that's the code of federal regulations. So as everything, government slows things down and it bottlenecks, which I'm not used to. And I'm still not getting used to it, but I'm getting better at it. And so with that being said, what is defined as an Indigenous leader? And I think that you have to be first and foremost community centered. And even though that people think Catawba has all this money, we do not. We have one casino, it does well, but we have to have and find other resources to generate the programs and the wants and the needs that we so desire, and we do need. And one of those is, I guess, through philanthropy or use that bullish spirit to go after and take care of and secure these donations, if you will. And I don't care who it's from, and as long as it's benefiting our people and my citizens, and we use it the right way, in the correct manner, I feel like that's my job. And so to put that out in the community, and I don't like to ask for anything, because I'm not a humble person, but I've always believed in, you work for what you get, don't ask for nothing. If you can't afford it, don't buy it. And so I was brought up in that kind of area, but being an Indigenous leader, you have to put those feelings aside, and you have to go ask for these donations, these support that normally otherwise you would not get. And so with that, I take great pride in doing. And that's another way Indigenous leadership and being in this role has changed me. And it gives back to the community. I went out and I've secured hundreds of thousands of dollars, not through the casino, but just from asking and receiving. And so I've, along with the executive committee, we've went out and we've donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to our cultural center. We've donated $200,000 to our Boys and Girls Club, our senior center, and those are monies that we put in the community, and we still to this day are doing. And so one of the things that I grew up in back whenever I was a little boy on reservation was the connection to community. My grandfather, I always had this big garden, and we'd be out there plowing it, and we would grow, and he would show me how to plant seeds, and he would show me how to split seeds and all the things that traditional Catawbas do. And so but we always drove around an old F-100 pickup truck. It was blue, faded, and it had a chicken wire for a grill and steak produce everywhere. And he would talk politics, and I'd play in the yard. But those are things that today I hope and pray one time our community will get back together and do those type of things. Consensus building is, I think, is a trait, but not a necessary trait. But because the decision making and being an Indigenous leader often involves a collective input from the community, and I'll give you an example from that. So I go, as I always do, I go get me a Diet Coke, and I get the grandma's cookies, the peanut butter, big grandma's cookies, and so I go up to the counter and I look over, and there's the Evening Herald. York County plans big, massive, the word massive in the headline park, and it's 1,900 acres, and it's absolutely adjacent to the Catawba Nation. And so, as we all know, we have done archaeological studies over there. There's 4 sites on that piece of property, and they have the remains of our ancestors amongst everything else. But we had little to no collaboration up until now. And so once you start asking these questions and demanding the answers, you know, and then you build that bond with York County and create these relationships in the community. I think that that's even though you want to say, look, this is our land, you know, they legally own it. We tried to buy it, we didn't get it. And so now you have to back up and redirect and find other ways to get what you want. And so being an Indigenous leader, that's one of the qualities that you have to have. And so you have to sustain focus. And that's one thing that I've always been good at, no matter what people throw at me. And there's been a lot thrown at me in 11 months. I stand tall, I stand firm, and I stay focused. Because at the end of the day, it's what I want to do, and that's what I'm doing. And so when you go and you make friends, not with the people that you want to be friends with, but with friends that you think the Catawba Indian Nation needs to promote and progress our people, and then you make this person mad, or you make this group mad, or you make this part of the community, and they say these things, and I think it's just I don't know if it's jealousy or if it's they want to get you off the game, or they want to deter you or get your focus. So you have to be focused. And you got to stay focused. And I think the old saying goes is like water running off a duck's back. I'm not used to it, but I'm definitely getting used to it because so spiritual connection with our land, our water, our resources is a major thing for me because it was instilled in me as a youngin. Because all the elders that I grew up with are gone now, and they had a very resonating ability to speak about, you know, Mother Earth, you know, and our Catawba River, and you know, how we grew corn and specific corn seeds that we have, and in it and everything. And so the spiritual connected to the land, and so it's very delegated, used to be and still is to a certain point with our ancestors and our seniors who passed that down to us. And though I'm not a very religious man per se, I have grown up in the Mormon church, and so far as a not an indigenous spiritual connection, I do have a connection as well with, I guess, the modern church. And the Mormon church has been in our tribe since early 1880s, 1870s. And so the Mormon culture is a big influence in how our tribal citizens live and how they interact with not only each other, but outsiders. So in addition to staying on focus, you have to be resilient, adaptable, and you have to be adaptable. And so if you're in a room, if you're in Washington, or if you had another tribal nation, and you feel like the narrative or the communication or the conversation is changing, you have to be able to adapt and pivot on a dime. And that is a characteristic that I'm used to, but I don't know if I let it. You have to drag it out of me, because when I stay on task, I'm on task, and I want to hammer my point in until I'm done. You know, not with a hammer, but with a sledgehammer. So, and so that's, I guess that would be another character flaw. But you know, you have to be resilient, you have to be adaptable, and you have to, I guess, change like a chameleon in the environment that you're around. And I feel that even though you have to do that, I feel like that makes you a fake person. But I do know, I appreciate and understand that you have to do it with these politicians, especially on the federal level, you know, to get and things that you need for them to get for them to advocate for you. And so we're getting better at it. Like I said, we're less than a year in, and so we're learning a lot. And but I think we're maneuvering pretty well. And so the last thing that I think an Indigenous leader needs and it should be able to sustain is storytelling. You know, tell stories that your ancestors and your seniors have blessed upon you, and be able to effectively communicate that into the public. And so, as my family was pretty much politicians, we do have a lot of our tribal citizens who are delved into their culture and their heritage as far as singing and dancing, making pottery. My family was pottery makers, and as a child, I rubbed a lot of pots, I scraped a lot of pots, I dug a lot of clay. But actually making pots in our pottery, I have made some, but I'm starting to get back in it. And so if you're not, as far as an indigenous leader, if you're not a grassroots type of leader, if you don't believe in be able to do the things that I have identified personally, then I don't think you're the right person for the job. And maybe you need to step on. And so, and if you don't always have your tribal citizens at heart and your community at heart, then you're in the wrong place. And when I ran the right person at the right time for the right reason. And so, as most of you know, we do have a casino in North Carolina, and the previous exec committee, they fought, and we finally got the recognition that we deserved up there. And so we have 6 service counties up there. But anyway, as we all do, and as we all know, there's predatory business people out there, and they took advantage of a lot of situations. And when we come into office, we had to correct a lot of those. And so I hope that if history looks back on me, I hope the bullish part of my leadership shines at those times, because we did make a difference, and we've saved our tribe millions of dollars, and now it's working for our people and not for other people. And so indigenous leadership is a concept rooted in traditional cultural values, community, well within being sustained relationship within the environment, as I've discussed. It encompasses leadership practices that are deeply connected to the cultural heritage, beliefs, and practice of indigenous communities. And so, as I have stated, an indigenous leader should never stop. Well, I have AD. I've got diagnosed about 5 years ago now with adult ADD. So I usually go to bed around 1 or 2 in the morning, but I'm back up at 6. So, but as a general rule, unless you don't have ADD, you can't stop. You can't quit moving. You can't quit asking. You can't settle for the status quo. You know, and I made a post the other day. Some tribal members like, Chief, we ain't built the first one yet. Why are you on to the second? Because we cannot stand still as Native Americans. Never should we stand still again. And I feel like Catawba has stood still for way too long. Now we got to move, and in moving we are. And so, with that being said, the leadership that indigenous leaders use to approach all situations is grounded in a profound understanding of their interconnectivity, interdependency, and the importance of living in a balance with nature and all living things. And so, as we move forward in the business world, and especially the 21st century, I think that other leaders in the community, they look upon indigenous leaders to come for them for environmental questions, or for questions about what it takes to sustain when you don't have anything to sustain with. Because as you know, the Native Americans are very resilient and minding our own business and making our own way and providing for ourselves. And today, I think a lot of that characteristics have been indoctrinated out of the average citizen in America. I don't think they could live off the land like we can, because it's not been taught historically. Everybody goes to grocery stores, and they think just because you pull that gallon of milk out, it automatically going to refill. That's not the case, and how you do that is getting back to nature, getting back to farming. And the Catawbas, as you well know, are farming people. However, we are fierce warriors, and we have been fierce warriors. And it's been noted in the Battle of Kings Mountain, and our chief, one of the great chiefs, King Hagler, he has been named the patron saint of Camden. And so General George Washington, when the Cherokees was coming over and they lost the Battle of Kings Mountain, we have documents that says to his commander, go find the Catawba. And the Catawba he found in the Kings Mountain the Battle of Kings Mountain. Well, you know how that turned out, but we won. And so, and so indigenous communities face mixed challenges from environmental degradation to social marginalization. We definitely know about that. Reserves of resilience, innovations, and leadership by harnessing this unique perspectives and knowledge and experiencing the whole plethora of the table of truth, we possess a deep understanding of their interconnectedness between humans and the natural world, informed by generations of timed again experiences. This holistic perspective allows us to identify and address challenges in a comprehensive and sustainable manner, which I just gave you some examples of that. I know by personal experience of all the causes the indigenous leaders bring. They do bring a wealth of knowledge and experience to the table, at least the ones that I have interacted with so far, which I've been to a lot of tribes. Most profoundly was Chickasaw and Choctaw nations out west. What really, and we are facing this today. As we talk about community and getting back and taking care of our citizens, we are now bringing back our healthcare out of the Dr. Grill, out of the 638, the federal government's hands into our hands. And when you, to me, as I have negotiated large contracts before, but not a billion-dollar contract, to me it's just about money. It's fun for me. Whenever I was up there, haggling and negotiating to redo all these contracts we have with the casino, but the healthcare gives me anxiety and it keeps me up at night, and it should. And the reason why it should, because this is not about money. This is about people's health, and their lives and the sustainability of quality healthcare. And money comes and goes, but the ability to take care of our citizens' health remains constant, and it remains the same, and it's passed on through generations and generations, and we have to take care of our people. And so for these minimal but specific reasons, we got to get it right. We got to get it right, and we have to maintain the continuity of healthcare that our citizens demand and they need, and it's supplied on a daily basis. And so, even though I feel like that going from 638 federal to the tribe running healthcare ourselves is a good thing, and we are in the mix of those negotiations. We do have to maintain continuity of care. And if I feel that at any time during these negotiations that we cannot maintain the continuity of healthcare, I'll cut it off in a heartbeat. We won't be proceeding any further because that's the way I was raised, and that's my beliefs. And so if we can't make it better, I'm not going to touch it. And so that's just the way it is. Harnessing. So how do you harness that indigenous leadership? Well, as I was explaining before, it's got to be deeply placed in you. You have to, I guess what they say, walk the walk and talk the walk. And you have to you have to live in the grassroots. As I have seen, and as I find, as I go out through Indian country, we have a lot of people that have these degrees and these doctorates and all the accolades that come after their name, but yet they spend all their time in schools and they haven't spent their time with the earth, with nature, with their people. They haven't lived and breathed what it's like, to be a grassroots Native American in this country. And that's, that's fine. That's your thing. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to berate or belittle, but I think this is my opinion. This is nothing expressed or implied from the Catawba Nation, but I find that if you do not have a connectivity to your community, to your traditions, to your culture, to your heritage, if you wasn't born in, if you have, politics was always discussed in my home, and these are things that I've learned that has helped me today, and I learned them from my family, my father. And so if it's okay. And like I told the president-elect, or excuse me, former President Trump Wednesday, he said, I have a I guess, issue with Indian country, he feels. And so when I get a chance to sit down and talk with him at any given time, I'm going to tell him, well, your first mistake was you didn't fill all the Indian or Native American cabinet seats that you had. You had 6 left. You had 6 left or thereabout. And I said, so everybody can unify, everybody can unite. And so that's what we should do. And so we don't need, people who are, I guess, who's wanting to elevate themselves to certain positions, certain levels for the accolades and the things that come after their names, other than just being honest, straightforward, and advising. I don't care if it's who gets in there, if it's a Democrat or Republican, the Native American needs must be met. And those positions need to be filled. And I feel like, again, nothing expressed or implied by the Catawba Nation, these Native American, whether they're leaders, former leaders, need to be a part of the grassroots movement across America as far as Native Americans. And that's the only way that they're going to get the true picture and the true scope of what's going on in any country. And as I stated, my job is to work with anybody and everybody across either aisle, Republican, Democrat, Independent, or Libertarian, or whatever you want to call yourself. It's my job not to marginalize that person, or to say, oh, he's a Republican, or I'm not going to talk to him. I'd be stupid to do that. Part of my nation and my people. And so through collaboration and partnership, we continue to build the relationships between indigenous communities, governments, and even local municipalities. And sometimes those local municipalities are way tougher than anything you can realize at the federal level. And so, so these things are crucial for ensuring that indigenous voices are heard and their leadership is effectively harnessed. This requires open communication, mutual respect, and the willingness to learn from each other. And I'll give you the time of day, but if you're not open-minded to learn, and I'm not open-minded to learn from you, then that's a conversation that doesn't need to be had. And so I make sure that I'm open-minded, and and I've befriended people that I have never thought that I would befriend in this role. And it's because of my people in the tribe that I have to stop. I have to look and I have to listen. And guess what? When I start listening, I'm like, oh, you know what? You're not such a bad guy, and so these are some of the things that I'm learning, and that being the chief of the Catawba Nation, I find that helps me as a human and helps me as a person to grow. And so for that, I'm blessed. So now, reflecting upon what has went on this year, which has been we didn't hit the ground walking, or we hit the ground at a full sprint, and maybe that's my fault, and so we have bottlenecked a little bit, especially internally with some things, but hey, to each his own. So reflecting upon the journey of our first year, I am filled with a profound sense of gratitude and humility. Taking on the mantle of leadership for our tribe has been a path lined with both challenges and triumphs. And the irony of that is, when you get these wins, they're short-lived, because just as you put that fire out, there's another one brewing over here, and there's another one brewing over here. Hell, you don't even know about them yet, but they're there and they're coming. So you better be ready for them. That's why I say, as one of the characteristics, I said, you have to sustain and you have to maintain focus, because there are distractors out there to get you off of your game. And that does not happen with me. Well, maybe a couple times. When I first took office, the weight of our history and the hopes of our future rested heavily upon my shoulders and the newly formed executive committee. And I really like to take a minute to talk about the exec committee, and they are indigenous leaders too, and they really resonate. I'm not speaking for them, but I think I can characterize a lot of what I said has been instilled in them as well. And one of our secretary treasurer, he's on his 4th term. So almost at the end of this one's gonna be 20 years. That fellow has served this tribe. And so he's seen a thing or two. He's been a part of things too. He's made mistakes. I've called him out on those mistakes. He's called me out on my mistakes, but we live and we learn and we move, and that's what it's all about. So our wisdom, our passion, sacrifices are ever present in the thoughts and actions that we live every day. As Catawba faces hardships and struggles that they have left us in the past, we have to have the same resolve and the same resilience of our ancestors. And by doing so, we need to preserve the history, culture, traditions, and our community be able to survive another 1,000 years to go along with that existing 6,000 years that we've been around. So I don't know a lot of who knows a lot about Catawba. Who's first time even hearing about Catawba? Well, good. So I ain't got to go through all the history and all, but we've been around for thousands of years, but I'm willing to do that. I'll get chastised, if I don't. But we are a Siouan tribe. We've originated from the Piedmont area, which is back then it was called the Carolinas. You had North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, and so these are our areas, and we've been around for thousands of years. Even though that we settled along the Catawba River and we farmed and we've hunted and we fished. As I stated earlier, we are warriors and we are fierce warriors, even to today. Just come to one of our general council meetings and you'll know. So our first year has been a testament to our unity and our unyielding spirit. We have faced environmental challenges, economic uncertainties. We fixed a couple of those, and the ongoing struggle to assert our sovereignty and rights. Yet together, we have made significant strides with strengthening our education programs, ensuring that our children are not only well versed in the ways of our world and our culture, but also in outside culture. And because at the end of the day, you have to get along, you have to go along, get along, and you have to know where you came from to be in charge of where you're going. Our cultural preservation initiatives have thrived under our first year with the renewal of traditional crafts, songs, languages. As I've stated, we've donated $200,000 now to the cultural center, and that has not come from casino revenue. That has come from the drive, the passion, and deep embeddedness from not only myself but the executive committee and the assistant chief. I think she's here today. And not only that, we sit here and we talk about human rights, or excuse me, women's rights and women's ability to do this and women's ability to do that. And I just want to say I'm very proud of our assistant chief because she made history. First time, as I stated, in the 6,000 years that I'm aware of, not unless somebody can correct me, which that's fine too. But Assistant Chief Patricia Leach is the first woman ever to be elected for and she's gonna get on to me. I say this, but as I wear my feelings and my emotions on my shoulders, and sometimes it seems constant, the assistant chief will throat punch you at any given moment, at any given time. No, just kidding. So as we move forward into the next year, let us carry the lessons learned and victories achieved with us. Let us remain united, drawing strength from our shared heritage and our collective dreams. May they become the best they can be. We have only just begun to chart the course of our renewed journey, and with each step, we honor our past and hold a future worthy of our ancestors. And so I'm not going to, I have another page here, but I think that I'm going to wrap it up there, and I'll open it up for any questions, comments, or as I used to say, any concerns that you might have. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah. And as you witness, I write my own, and yeah, and so I write my own because as a little boy growing up on a reservation, I find that it's that's nobody should be writing things for me. They can proofread them and they can correct, and what Rue George Warren does a lot of. He said, "Now, Chief, we still want to be the friends, so let me correct this." I said, "Okay, you go ahead." But I got to give him a lot of credit because he looks over a lot of stuff. But at the end of the day, I write my own and I come up with my own thoughts and my own ideas. Nobody does it for me. However, they do proofread and make some corrections sometimes. But for the most part, 90% of what I say or what I speak up on is my own, and it's original.
What year did y'all spend?
1993 for the second time. Yes.
Yes, sir. You were talking about history, especially during the 18th century. Century living destroyed. Have y'all ever thought about living history? Actually putting warriors in an original Eastern Woodlands kit out there to go to some of these reenactments. I'd
Well,
like to see y'all out there with us.
it's Miss Becky Garrison. We are building exactly what you're saying right now. Reenactment village, yes.
I understand.
Miss Becky, you want to just give a shout out? I was just telling about how we were doing the reenactment village and traditional Catawba. Oh, yeah.
She knows I hate being in front of people. But anyhow, we're in the process of creating a living village, so we'll have people there that would doing the history, doing fighter demonstrations, storytelling, and reenactment at some point. So with all the rain, it's slowed it up, but it's in the process. But also you need to come up to the culture center as well, because on our walking trail, we have some wooden statues of our little Yingsasoris, our little wild Indians. And they're about 3 feet tall, so you'll need to come up there too, so. Yeah.
And so for the first time in, I guess, recent history, through these donations and the ability to go out and ask and accept, I guess, charity, which is, as I say, as an Indigenous leader, I'm not used to doing, but I have done it. Anyway, make a long story short, these couple $100,000 that was donated to the Culture Center has freed up hopefully more money for us to be able to put together our reenactments and things as you described, to tell our story. It's our job to tell our story. It's not nobody else's job. And so it's our job. And in the story, we will tell it. And it's time to tell it. So any other questions?
You had mentioned that the park in North County having 4 sites, cultural sites that contain like Catawba remains and artifacts or things like that. Are they working with you to repatriate those items yet or no?
They will be. Yeah, they will be. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. Oh, sure. I'm sure that won't be a problem. Be a problem. And so it's weird when you look at stuff on paper, in relation to how you do them. And, and so the things that, I guess I'm gonna be a little braggadocious because our executive committee, together as a group, we've been on extreme highs and then we've been on extreme lows. And, we've had heated, passionate discussions and, and sometimes, it could have come to blows. But hey, that's what being Native American is, so to speak, because we're all passionate, we're all Catawbas, we're all warriors. And so is the assistant chief. And though she is quiet through most of that, when she speaks, we listen. So our tribe is a matriarch tribe anyway. So our women, our ladies are very involved with the government. And as you know, as with our cultural items as well. And I love that. But when you look at some of the things that, we've done, I'm not going to recite them, but these are just 11, and these are major things on here. And so these are the things, when you look at them on paper, it just resonates, the ability and resolve that we have to make sure that the Catawba Indian Nation is always in the right place at the right time. And, as long as the Catawba Indian Nation, if it's done in the right way, in the legal way, I don't care who shouts our names out, who gives us recognition, because recognition is what we need and what we deserve. And that's just the way I stand on things. So, anything online or any other questions in the room? Yes, ma'am.
What can the average citizen do to show support for the topic?
Well, I think a lot of that centers around and involves through the individual person. Even though a lot of our tribal members are intermarried throughout many cultures and minorities that are represented, I think the average citizen can help us tell our story, come to our events, and help us educate the people on who we are, what we believe in, where we're from, where we're going. And it's these things that keeps Catawba alive, and the ability to replenish our roles without the federal government's involvement. Because if we're not over our roles, and if we're not putting people on our roles that meets our internal requirements, then our government dies, our nation dies. We have nobody to replace it. So I think that the ability to listen, learn, and to help us promote everything Catawba is the most, my personal feeling is the best you can help us.
Paris, you have a question?
Yes, ma'am.
With us being a tribe to be pretty affluent, there's several of the tribes that are trying to do the rebuild the living villages and things like that in the past. But is there also a way for you to expound on how far the Indians have come over the course of time? With education, having businesses of their own, owning their own homes and things like that. And so you can clearly see the past, but you're proud of where you're going in the future with a true focus of success.
Well, we have internal programs and things that signals out our fellow tribal members. As far as business entrepreneurs, if you own a business, we have internal policies that we go to you first. If we need grass cut or if we need a casino built, and so that's the way, being a tribal or Native American throughout the United States, we need to get more involved in is putting our people to work and keeping them involved and putting that income in their pocket, because, it's all about generational wealth, right? You don't have it, let's face it, you don't have it, you don't get much done in the world as it is today. Even though we know how to survive and live off the land, we also need the revenue to project our tribes forward. And so by the educational funds that we have now, our RAP monies, the scholarship programs, we are instilling education, not only our culture, but education now, the outside world. As I spoke of earlier, even though I feel like, the next president gets in that has to have, that real Native grassroots involved in its cabinet, we do need to be educated, and I'm a believer in that. But we have educational programs and scholarships now to provide for our citizens, and so with that, it'll come back on us twofold. When they go out in the world and they get educated and they come back, then maybe they'll be our next director for our cultural center. They'll be maybe the next chief, bigger, brighter, more intelligent than anyone that's come before them. And so it's these areas that Native Americans need to focus, maintain the course, and that way, whenever all of us are gone, they're there to replace us. And maybe one day they'll get the unity and the strength and the resolve that is so much needed in America, in the United States today with Native American culture.
Question from Zoom for the Chief Harris. How are you incorporating your love of nature farming and traditional crafts into the tourist trade? And is the tourist trade providing sustainable income for the citizens of the nation?
We have a Black Snake Farm, and so we have our own farm, and we farm traditional plants and vegetables out there. We do not have anything far as sustaining meat right now. The cows that we did have, we have sold off until we get a bigger, better place to be able to sustain those. And so as we move forward We have programs to replace, replenish the longleaf pines, river cane, I'm gonna call, it's of the sunflower class, but I don't know the technical name, to keep all these, indigenous plants in our areas alive, thriving, and well. And Aaron Baumgardner, Jennifer McAdams, and we have so many great people, in our environmental, division. We take care, like I say, from the banks with river cane to bat caves. And so these are the things that, we're, bringing, forth and maintaining. And so here again, that's how we are synergizing, once again, as we've done for thousands of years, with the land and Mother Earth.
Zoom question 2, what is your greatest accomplishment as chief?
I think my greatest accomplishment, Brian Harris's greatest accomplishment, is to be able to listen, adapt, and be able to change as a person and as a leader, to benefit the people I represent. That's my greatest accomplishment, because 11 months ago I was in a corporate in a different world. Now it's a whole different area, and as I had said, you have to be able to adapt. And I didn't know if I was going to do it. I don't know if I could do it, but a lot of people who support me, and even those who don't, I've listened to them, I've heard them, and that's my greatest accomplishment today, is to be able to adapt to the wants and the needs of the people I represent without being so bullheaded or putting us in a position or saying something crazy out of my mouth that makes us all cringe. That's my best accomplishment today.
No more questions from Zoom, but you have a lot of accolades in there. A number of people saying they enjoyed the presentation, and others saying they enjoyed going to the river and being on the reservation. But thanks so much.
Oh, you're very, thank you for having me.